everyone, and welcome to this week's episode, episode 3, where we will be talking about such topics as job searching, the recruitment process, handling job rejections, and how a good support system can help keep your spirits up. It's not going to be as long as our first episode, of course, but, as with everything, we're on a user journey. And like our podcast, we are always trying to improve ourselves. So without further delay, let's get on to the main topic, which is, the first part of it is going to be about job searching. What do you think about the whole having to sign up to a job portal after seeing an advert on LinkedIn and going through the painful process of entering information about 1,000,000 times?
I mean, easy apply is obviously preferred to a lot of people. Like it's easy to click a button and send your resume off. Um, I guess it really depends on the company. Like I think I applied at John Deere and you had to sign up for their job portal, like inside their website, and they have really bad UX. Most of them do, and it's what
Yeah,
a nightmare to
that is true.
navigate. It's
That is true.
but that's that company. Like if you apply to Amway or Pfizer in Michigan, it's the same. It doesn't matter what you're applying for. You have to be on their job board. That's how their HR and hiring manager monitor the amount of applications that come in. They can
Yeah.
scan all that stuff and screen people. And if they find something that fits, who knows? I mean, I get emails from John Deere all the time, but it's not for what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I think if I mean I've come across that where the UX is really, even the UI is really bad, and I think, I don't think this company can afford to be picky with years of experience, because if they've got people who've got years of experience and this is the product they're churning out in terms of UX and UI, not impressed. That's for sure.
Yeah, but to stay in their system so they can check your stuff. That's why some are like you might hear back in the next 4 weeks, and normally those would be automated if they're rejections. But that's because I mean, when you look at how many people are applying, you have thousands of applications, and you got two HR managers. They're gonna look through all that. Like I understand why huge corporations do that, but now that technology is moving downward, you you're having to sign up for like work wise. Oh my god, terrible,
Yeah,
terrible, terrible.
this segues nicely into one of the things we wanted to talk about in this part of the episode was, we've been talking about the job portals and stuff and hiring managers, but then this is the problem though, is on one hand, if you've got even if a company's got a skeleton crew and they've got, as you say, dozens, if not hundreds of applications, yeah, sure, it might be a bit of a stretch for one or two people to go through that. But I think actually using the AI here, and I'm not anti AI, I'm not completely pro AI, but I think using AI is actually not, well, first of all, there's not, you don't have that human element in it. Second of all, I think quite a lot of applicants are skipped because their CV does have the terminology the AI is scanning for, but it also has words or terminology the AI is not looking for, and then it puts it as a strikeout.
Yeah,
So
but
I think,
I
I,
used to think about that too, and I had two different resumes, and I would submit them based on the size of the company I was applying. And so I had one that was set up that was supposed to be good with the AI, and my other one where it's a smaller company, they might not use it. I'm just gonna turn it in because it might hit eyeballs before it hits a computer. And yeah, that's the thing. I think that's a part of our hiring issue at the moment too with companies is you have the big companies using the AI, you're getting skipped as a new guy. You're going to smaller companies, but they have so many to look through. They set up requirements that maybe aren't even really requirements. It's just trying to weed people out so they don't waste their time, and it is unfair. um, that you're hiring entry level positions between 3 to 5 years when it could be easily like, okay, you need no experience to 2 years would be really preferable, but we're not asking that that's a strict
Yeah.
requirement.
Well. The obvious fallacy with the years of experience is how do you gain years of experience if you're not able to gain a chance, so to speak, or to be given a chance? Because the thing is, no one was born being an expert in anything. Even if you've got a talent for something, you still have to learn about the subject. Simply having a talent or a passion for something does not make you an expert. It just means that if you find that niche where your talent can help you that your talent can help you find, then yeah, you'll probably become an expert sooner than other people who may not be so enthusiastic or so talented. But yeah, I don't even bother now if I see the minimum 3 years of experience, particularly when it's an entry level role. I don't bother because, first of all, I don't want to what I suspect to be KPIs revolving around, oh, we need to see how many applicants we can get because it looks good. We can say, oh, yeah, we're a popular company. We have many people who are interested in working for us, when really that's not the reality. Because a lot of us, we just want a job. Or we want a chance. That's what. But the thing is, it's not always the years of experience. I mean, I applied for one job recently, and I had a very good, impeccable recruitment process experience. I had an interview. I didn't get through, but I did leave a very good impression, and I have a good rapport with the company. Um, and I know that. There was someone, the person who got it just had a little bit more experience in terms of the onboarding for them wouldn't take as long or suspected to take as long. I mean, I'm a quick learner. I don't really need to take a lot of time to learn the essence of something, and then it's just a case of practicing it. But yeah, I think years of experience is really discouraging, and I think actually recruiters or companies that emphasize that for entry level positions are missing a trick. But then a colleague of ours, she told me she applied for an internship position that was unpaid, and they wanted her to not only do a design test, but they rejected her because she needed years of experience. And I'm thinking, for an internship, you don't need experience. An internship is you're learning on the job. I mean, if you've got a medical intern, you're not going to say, Hmm. Well, you've got some of the skills, but we don't really want you to be a doctor because you don't have the years of experience. So it's not
Now,
just
my
even paid jobs, it's even the internships that are
yeah,
unpaid that
I
are
was actually going to bring
problematic.
that up. I was going to bring that up anyway today because I had looked at internships while I was applying, and I think 80% of them here, at least in Germany, were you had to be a student.
I see that mostly in the US as well. Yeah.
And to
Yeah,
me
yeah,
that's
it is.
crazy because an internship should it's an internship, man. Like you want to learn to do that thing. You're interested in it, you want to do it. And they take it away from anybody who's interested if you're not in the US's case incurring a giant debt on yourself and then you work for free
Yep.
for them.
Well, in the UK as well, it's education in any way, shape, or form is not cheap over there. That's why I didn't go to university, because I knew people who were, when I studied law, I knew people who were really good at it, and you'd get one position in a law firm as an intern or an apprentice, or well, not apprentice, associate, and you'd have one, maybe two positions, and you'd get 100 people apply, law students apply for that position, and probably about only, probably maybe 90 of them, let's say they got an A grade, but the 10 people who got who would be even considered, which would be whittled down to that to those one or two people, would have, like, I don't know, A plus. But it's so competitive. I think that's the other thing with internships, and I think maybe that's why with UX and UI internships is it's competitive because a lot of people want to do it. So I think, I mean, if you've got a higher demand than there is a supply, then the power shifts to those who can decide who to hire. Whereas if it's the other way around, which I thought it was actually, I thought maybe it was a year or 2 years ago, but I thought there was a bigger demand than there was a supply for UX designers. Although it doesn't seem to be the case anymore, because if there was, then I don't think companies' descriptions would involve being so picky. I mean, I think it's this years of experience seems to be the only thing that matters. And I've got
It's their
rejected from
biggest
jobs, and I'm
it's their
bilingual.
biggest and fastest check mark. You got to think UX about it. What's the quickest way for us to find what we think we need? Okay, here's requirement number one that even without AI, we're going to look at, because people with experience that are applying for this job are better than people without, even though it's available to them.
Yeah,
And if
that's the same thing. It's, people with experience instantly better, but I don't know whether that's always true, because I remember about a month ago I was trying to get the mattress cover on my bed, and the way it was designed was horrible. It took me about 2 hours just to get that off my mattress after I had cleaned it. And I'm thinking, whoever designed this, if they've got years of experience as a product designer, they need to be 86th, or they need someone with a fresh, new, creative view on it. Because I looked at that and I thought, just to digress a little, and I thought, actually, why did they not make the zips go all the way around rather than just on two corners? Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know why all this years of experience. But then years ago, we used to have it where, oh, you have to have a degree, even if you had years of experience. If you didn't have a degree, you weren't considered. So I guess it's shifted somewhat from then.
And a really tricky part of all this is that no one actually cares about the years of experience that anyone has. It's more of, hey, how do we judge quality, like their quality as a designer? Unfortunately, that's damn near impossible to figure out by just looking at a piece of paper. So the next best thing is, hey, how many years have you been doing this? Which unfortunately does not equal quality as a designer. But
Not at
uh,
all.
I don't know how else to judge quality if you're just looking at a piece of paper. And when you have so
Yeah.
many people to look at from a recruiter's point of view, I don't see a solution there. It's rough.
Well, yeah, totally. And the other thing as well is, like what you just said, about the years of experience. The thing is, I've noticed is, and I've mentioned this before to people, is my portfolio, my UX portfolio. I have a counter. I'm able to see the number of unique visitors each day, and I know full well that the hits for my portfolio do not correlate to the number of jobs I applied for and the number of rejections I got.
Mm-hmm.
So with that said, I think that a better way than judging by going by years of experience is to actually look at an applicant's portfolio and see they've gone through the whole process. They've got one main project where it details the whole shebang from start to end, from the concept to the final prototype, and then a couple of other projects that might be a bit more UI focused, but also talking about a user journey. What kind of customer would use my app? What kind of pain points would there be? So I think that the year's experience is something that isn't really a good idea to go by to judge. I mean, it saves time, but it almost seems like it's sort of short-term gain, long-term pain. And also, I actually think if I were hiring someone for the job, yeah, sure, it'd be based on their experience and qualifications, but also I think their personality and how much they're going to enjoy the job. Because if you get someone who's going to enjoy the job and they're going to stay with the company for at least a couple of years, because everyone knows that it's cheaper to keep someone than to hire a new person. So if you're hiring a new person, you want to get your money back, right? You want to get your investment, you want to make an ROI. So I actually think that if you get an applicant who is passionate about what they do, they're very open to learning, but also bringing in some knowledge, and they will gel with the rest of the workforce, and they actually envision staying with the company for quite some time, a long time, couple of years, showing loyalty, then I actually think that kind of candidate would be better than someone who is really qualified, has years of experience, but then probably has the bargaining power to be able to negotiate or maneuver into a better deal with another company. And then after 6 months or 3 months or whatever, they leave. I mean, that's just what I've often thought about the whole thing, to be honest.
Absolutely. Are there any last thoughts on job requirements? Oh, you know what? I have
Uh,
one.
Yeah, go for it.
yeah,
So
go ahead.
I'm not sure how it goes in Europe or Asia or anywhere
Mm.
else, but here in the U.S., there are some states that have some different tax laws regarding um, like payment for employees and stuff. I'm not exactly sure if it impacts the employees' paychecks or the employers' like tax statements at the end of the year. I don't know, but some companies will bar you from working remotely if you work in certain states that have certain tax laws. For example, I recently moved to Colorado, and something about their tax laws is not fun for employers. And so, for example, if I'm applying to a remote position in New York, there's a very high position that I won't even be allowed to apply, or like not even allowed to
Be- because
be
of the way your
considered,
state
simply
does the taxes.
because of the way the taxes work. And so, if you've, for example, lived in Colorado your whole life, then I don't really have much of a way around that for you. However, like many other people, they moved to Colorado recently, or just moving around to different states, and maybe you still have your ID from your previous state. Just fake it. Hey, you still live in that old state with the more favorable tax laws. If you have that same ID, just keep your LinkedIn location as that other place, or just write it United States or something like that. Maybe you still have family or like parents in that old state that you can have like the mail sent to. Just fake it if you need to. It's okay. It works.
Well, I think if there's a huge drop in the number of people living in Colorado, um, I think it'll probably be in no small part to you, Will Carson. So thank you very much for that.
Will's driving the revolution.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, we'll bring back the old fist.
So
Have a revolution.
I would like to ask both of you where you guys mostly apply for jobs, looking for UX UI specific jobs.
Uh, well, obviously, the first one being LinkedIn, of course. The second one would be Glassdoor or Indeed. Although, having said that, I'm not a big fan of their job search portals, because even if I try and define it with quotes like you would in Google, where you narrow it down to a specific few words, I get jobs that are really irrelevant. So I'm not a big fan of them. I've been
Okay,
using Yeah, I've been using Stepstone quite a bit lately, and actually, they were quite good in terms of precision. Searching for the jobs, you're actually, I would say they're probably the most relevant. I mean, I on Wednesday, I think it was, I actually applied for 11 jobs within about 20-30 minutes just on Stepstone, because it was so easy to
Nice.
do. Yeah, it was just, I've not heard back from them yet, so maybe this week I'll get all of the job rejections if I get any. But no, I that was one job portal. I remember I had signed up to it years ago with a different account, really a long time ago, and then I created a new one. But with that experience of how easy and effortless it was to apply for the 11 or 12 jobs I applied for, I don't actually mind that, and I don't have to keep signing up. So once you're already in, you're already in. You've got everything uploaded, and sometimes there's an advantage to that, because whenever you apply, like on one of the worst things is join.com, because you can't always give as many documents as you want, whereas on Stepstone you upload everything to your profile, certificates, references, etc., etc. And you can, when you apply for a job, they will see all of those documents, or at least they'll have the option to see them if they wish to. LinkedIn, I'm not always in. LinkedIn's hit and miss for me. I mean, lately I've been seeing a lot of senior positions come up, whereas a couple of weeks ago I wasn't seeing anything. And I heard from other courtiers that they were saying the same thing. But no, LinkedIn is a bit hit and miss. I mean, I don't really want to see a job for lead developer or something to do with needing an engineering degree. It's not relevant. I'm not an engineer.
Well, there's a couple websites. Well, I don't know if you're just using LinkedIn or if you are applying through others, but
Mm. Yeah,
there's
LinkedIn is my
uh,
number one by far.
so there's a few that are strictly just UX UI, and there's Ideate Labs. There you can go to their website, and like they have juniors boards. They have all kinds of different design position boards. Um,
What's that place called again?
Ideate Labs,
Oh, Ideate Labs. I've not heard of that one.
and yeah, look them up. I applied to a bunch. It's not always super fast. That's the thing. You can't be just looking for fast on here.
Is this international though, or is it mainly around the US?
It's international. You can find jobs everywhere.
Okay. One thing actually I will mention, it wasn't necessarily job searching, but there's a group on LinkedIn. I was about to say Facebook, but I don't have Facebook, so I don't know. On LinkedIn called UX Jobs, and actually they reposted. If you hashtag them, and you put you're looking for work, they will repost it. Which I thought, oh wow, it was pretty cool. I mean, I didn't really get any people contacting me, but it was just nice because it was like, well, there's nothing to lose, and there was a little bit of a more of a chance that someone would take notice of my profile.
Yeah.
So,
You
oh,
can also
oh,
for UX UI people looking for specifically those jobs, you can go to the UXPA, which you can get a membership there as well.
yeah,
And there's a
yeah.
huge job board, and I mean, at the moment in my area that I have selected, there's not a lot going on, but most of them I see are remote. Um, they have
I'm just on
links
that.
to all sorts of UX information and events and things you can attend to network, like PvP
Hmm.
style instead of online.
Oh, that's. Oh, sorry. Just to interrupt. I was on that website, the Junior UI thing, and it says if you sign up, hundreds of junior da 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 da. Please note the jobs posted are only for the US job market at the current moment.
Yeah, they'll tell you. Before there was a bunch of European ones on here, but maybe that's because of my, I don't know what you call that, my server. They know you're on the European server. Like if I go to whatever adidaswebsite.com, it switches me automatically to the DE website.
This one, it's just ideatelabs.co, but I would never have known of that if it wasn't for you mentioning that. So, yeah, I think a key thing to take away from that is there's always a new place for you to be able to look for jobs that you probably didn't know just
Yeah,
because.
and honestly, I think people might have a better chance at some of these jobs because LinkedIn is, like I said, it's like a shooting fish with a shotgun. Like, come on, you just sit there and spray your resume everywhere you want, and on here it might not be as fast, but you will find something in the field, and So far all the ones I found on there were good. I applied to quite a few on there. But I wouldn't recommend them if I didn't think they would be okay. But that UXPA is
Oh,
also, I think, a really good option for a lot of people because it puts you in the UX community. You get a jobs board you can check on. People can find you on there. You can get UX information and further education. So I think that's a really good one for somebody still looking. But yeah,
oh, wow.
I do. When I was still looking, I was all over LinkedIn, Stepstone. What's the other one? Indeed, I think is the other one that I was doing. Um, but yeah, so there's options. It's just not. It's not going to be fast with some of these places, but
Mhm.
also some of them don't require you to sign up for their own personal uh,
Yeah.
system board.
Well, one thing I will say about one company is even though I applied for one position 4 times and I got rejections, I won't say the company name. And actually, maybe to them, I just had a bit. Maybe I was sure. I think they were sure I had an accent. Accenture.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Accenture. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I didn't really want to name it. I was kind of just sort
Oh,
of, you know.
my bad.
That's okay. I don't mind. I
Can
don't
be
mind
edited
naming
out.
them because I don't mind naming them because I had a really because I just felt their recruitment process was just awful, like one of the worst. But at least you didn't have to sign up to anything with that. You just sent off a few details in your CV. So I respect that part of it. But yeah, I won't. I definitely won't be applying for any jobs with them. That's for sure.
I
Um,
mean, that's fine too because why do you think like uh, I know Glassdoor does job ratings. There's a few other sites, but why do you think those sites exist so employees can tell other people searching like, dude, this is how it worked here and it was not it was not conductive to what they were saying on their job advertisement. So
yeah, there was actually one job, and actually, this leads on very nicely to the next topic we wanted to talk about: job rejections. There was one company I applied for a job for, and not once on their CV, on their job requirements, on their advert, did it mention anything about needing years of experience. So I thought, okay, they're asking for things, you're a team player, you understand, you've got some foundational knowledge on all the concepts of UX. And I'm thinking, yeah, I'm reading. So I'm there, I'm reading this, I'm thinking, okay, this is good. This is realistic. This is something that at least is a little bit fair. So I applied. And yeah, I applied. It was funny though, because I applied on a Friday and I got the rejection about 12 hours later on a Saturday. And I just happened to be in a really sarcastic mood that day. So I just replied back. And I love it. Oh, I did do when they don't have the no reply. So I replied and says, you get your usual patronizing um, email of, and I swear most of the companies or recruiters use the same templates. It's dear Cross, thank you for your application. However, as you know, it's not easy selecting the right candidate, blah, blah, blah. Whilst you do have your skills, we decided to proceed with candidates that have more experience.
I'm really sorry I'm laughing, but I know this email so well. It's just
Yeah,
ingrained in my brain.
yeah, it is. Yeah, it is in mine. And then, however, a couple of them even add, but we hope that this doesn't reflect badly on our company, and you'll consider us to be keep us in good mind, and apply for any roles that you feel you're suitable for. And what I used to do, right, because I got so annoyed that I stopped being angry and I just decided to be impish. So what I would do is I would reply back. I don't do it now because I don't even bother with the emails now because I know exactly when I get an email. in my inbox, because I have two inboxes. I have my Gmail one for general purpose, and I have a Proton one just for jobs. And I don't even bother to open the emails because I know they're going to be rejections. Because generally you will get called if you've been selected or shortlisted for
Right.
an interview. You will get called. And what I used to do is I used to just reword some of the emails and I'd send it back, and then I would say something like, "Dear recruiting team," or "Dear whoever, thank you for your confirmation of your email. After further consideration, I have decided to proceed with applying for other companies who actually have decades of experience in the field and have long been established. However, please don't let this be a reflection of your company." But other companies not only had the experience, but they also had better company benefits, and they didn't list one company benefit as being free fruit and free tea and coffee. However, I wish you the best of luck in seeking an applicant who fits all of your requirements. If I feel you are a company I would like to work for, of course I'm being really sarcastic, I'm not being arrogant, but if I feel in the future you are a company that is worth working for, then I will perhaps consider you in the future. Thank you very much, and I wish you the best of luck. Just to be sarcastic, just to be flippant. And I used to, get quite a lot of joy out of that, because I think out of probably 100 times I did that over the years, not just with UX, at least a small percentage of the recruiters would have seen them and they would have been shocked or found it funny.
Yeah, I
But
think
yeah, that email though, everyone knows it. You get why, and sorry, just to finish off my point, I would much prefer, and I think it would be hell of a lot easier to handle if an email said, like they used to in the good old days, "Dear Cross," or "Dear Mr. Preston, thank you very much for your interest in the position. On this occasion, you've not been successful. However, please feel free to apply with us again in the future. Good luck. Yours sincerely," or "kind regards," as it's now, recruitment team. That would be fine. That would be absolutely fine. But I think there's this
but I
thing
think
of,
I think it wouldn't change if you got 100+ of those. That would take the place of the already irritating email that a lot of people like to send.
yeah,
It just takes
yeah,
over. So
definitely.
it's, at one point you'd be like, these snarky companies are just sending me the same email. It's like a template they all downloaded. And
Yeah, download it, send away. And I'm
yeah.
thinking, well, if someone actually does meet the requirements, they should be considered. And also, as you said earlier, William, you can't really judge based on a piece of paper that's
Absolutely.
maximum 2 pages. You can't think, okay, such and such and such. Again, there's more to being an employee than just meeting all of the requirements. I mean, would you want to hire someone who's the best, but they don't get on with your team? They rub your team members up the wrong way. I'd rather go for someone who's probably not quite so super or au fait, but willing to learn, and who's someone who gets on with the team and aligns with the company's goals.
Yeah, I mean, my wife always used to say, well, if they're like that, why would you want to work for them in the first place?
Yeah, that's a really good point. And it's that's also a good part of a good support system. If you've got a wife, husband, a partner, it's nice that you can that they can sort of bring on a fresh perspective. That if a company is like this, it kind of like that company that when they turned around and said, "Oh, actually, we're looking for someone with experience," when they didn't even mention that in the job advert, and I pointed them out on that, and I was pissed off that day. Well, sorry, I'll have to cut that bit out. I was angry that day, and I said, if this is the way you advertise for jobs, then it doesn't really reflect well on someone who gets a job with you and the work atmosphere. You know. Um,
No, and it
Yeah,
also
but
like it's that whole thing really it starts to eat at you. And again,
it
like
does. It wears away at you. It niggles away at you. It's bound to anyone.
no, and I mean it is funny that because like I was about fed up with it after I can't remember if it was my third or fourth design challenge, but the design challenge wasn't even trying to hide the fact that you were designing it for their product.
Yeah.
And I didn't even do it. I sent them an email, and I after I had read it, I said no. I'm like, I will happily do any other challenge you give me that doesn't pertain to a new feature that you want to develop and you want me to
Mm,
do those
yeah,
wireframes using something similar to your UI. Like that's not happening. Sorry. Be a little more
yeah,
professional
because
and try to stop stealing people's ideas.
yeah, because they don't want to pay you, but then they'll take the idea and run with
Hmm.
it. Yeah, that is
Like
really
even if
bad
it's
practice.
not the final idea, it got them unstuck somehow. Super.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like
If they said something like, hey, this is a sample of this is what our website is like. We want you just to do how would you enhance it a little bit? So not a new idea, but just add some embellishments or give a couple of suggestions that aren't $1 million suggestions. Just things that probably most people could come up with. Yeah, that's the
they could
thing with
go hire
design
a
challenge.
consultant. They could go hire a consultant or just pay me for that idea. They're going to cost roughly
Yeah,
the same.
yeah, exactly. And also, if you've got someone who actually does the job, then you'd rather hire them. But again, as we just said, this niggles away at you. So it's really good to have a support system, and that's one of the reasons why we're doing this podcast. Actually, is because we want you to know, all of you out there who listen to this, that you're definitely not the only one going through it. You're definitely not the only one who's going to remember such a bad rejection email. But
Well,
don't be afraid to talk to other people who are looking for jobs. Build your connections, build your network on LinkedIn, and just mention that you're going through the same thing. And then you can talk about it. You can vent your frustrations about that with each other and feel better. So it's really important that you have friends, a good network, and also remember that it's not you, it's them. You're no less qualified than someone else just because you get a rejection. I mean, Zach, will you guys also have your own support systems? Is there anything you'd want to share regarding people who might be struggling, especially if they're on their own
I
Yeah.
mean,
I
Will wrote
and not
something. Sorry.
employed?
Yeah, go, Will.
I think I probably have a very different response to rejection emails than you guys do, and probably most people in general. When I got my first rejection email for a UX position, I was psyched. I was so happy because
Oh, I
I do not
celebrated. Yeah.
come from a design background at all. And so I was expecting to just not get any responses for months at first. And so when I got my first rejection email, I remember I was weirdly happy and like proud that hey, I'm in the game now. I'm finally like I've stepped up to the
It's
plate
happening.
and I'm finally here. I've still not had a single interview since I got that first rejection email back in like January. And for those who are coming to this episode months or years later, it is currently October. But it at least told me that I'm on the right path. I have an application package that's worthy of a rejection. Okay, so I've gone in the right direction here of having absolutely nothing to having something worth a rejection.
You
So
took that
now,
first step. Like it's a
yeah,
milestone, and I think that should be part of your plan. Is like I need a milestone. My first rejection is the biggest one because it means I'm moving forward.
hmm and then from there, I honestly don't really finish reading any of these rejection emails. I just make sure I read the first couple sentences just to make sure I don't accidentally skip like a second round email. But I do not finish at reading any of these. It's most likely all right. Read until I see the sorry or the unfortunately.
Yeah,
And
You just
then
scan
for
for
I'm
me,
those
sorry.
words.
it's
Then
like I was actually really dumb. And for the first like 6 months I was applying, for 6 or 7 months, I didn't change anything about my resume or my portfolio, which is incredibly dumb. after 2 months of the same results, you should have enough information to understand that something's up and you have something to change. I didn't change anything for a while, and that's on me. But since then, I actually made some massive improvements to my resume and my portfolio, and I now have more. Well, no, I now have real recruiters reaching out to me on LinkedIn now instead of the fake ones. Which again, that's another massive step in the right direction. I still only get email rejections, but hey, I've realized I've taken another step in the correct direction thanks to the fact that I'm getting real life recruiters now. Still nothing panning out, but that's all right. Now
Do
to address the
you?
second, yeah, Zach.
Oh yeah, keep going.
Sorry,
No, you're fine.
Oh,
multifaceted answer here.
sorry, Will. Yeah, no,
Uh,
sorry, Will. Just to come on to your first point,
yeah.
regarding that is, yeah, I don't bother reading the emails because every job I've ever got after my initial application, I always got a phone call
Cool.
to say that you got through to the next round. So that's why I don't bother reading the emails. I have an auto rule set up where they just anything to do with the body of the message saying, unfortunately,
Yeah, that makes
goes
sense.
straight to the bin. Goes straight to the bin.
I like
You
that.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now to respond to the support system part of your question.
it
Um,
is. It's a good one because I think, oh, it might actually be an email I'll really care to read.
yeah. So I had a very poor relationship with the idea of my career for a few years after I graduated college. I was very, very down on myself about it, to the point where it was really the only thing that I would complain about, and it was really the only thing I could really think about for a while. And it had a negative experience on, or it had a negative effect on my loved ones to the point where, like, my girlfriend even told me, like, "Hey, I don't know how to help you anymore because, like, I've already said everything I've thought to say, or given you everything I thought to give you. I don't know anymore." And that was the kind of the point that I realized, like, all right, I'm done taking the complaining route. I'm done needing someone else. I'm gonna figure out how to do this emotionally all on my own. And so that has been a not an easy task. Just to put that up front, but it's led to me becoming the most patient I've probably ever been in my entire life. I think anyone going through a job search like this one now, where the market is completely flooded and it's super duper competitive, I think you need to go into this and telling yourself, like, hey, this is a 5 year process here. I can't do this in just 6 months. This has to be an incredibly long game, and I have to be interested enough in the industry to do the work for free on the side just because I like it. If you're not at that level of interest, then I don't think you're really gonna develop the patience to really stick it out and get the job at the end of this. I've been working for free on a product that I really care about and hold a lot of interest in, for a lot of this year now, and it makes me feel fulfilled. I don't have a paycheck yet, but you know what? I'm happy I'm doing the work, and I mean, I'd rather be happy than be depressed in the job search. So I'm still in the
Um,
job search, but
Well,
at
it's
least I'm
always
still happy about the work.
so
well, it's always a good thing to be happy in that. I mean, I'm okay. I'm happy doing. If it's for a charity organization, I'm more than happy to contribute any experience, skills, and knowledge. Because it's
Mhm.
well, especially if it's an animal charity, because I'm more prone to having my heart melt with animal charities than people charities, to be honest. Um, and just regarding your point about how being it's better to be happy, try and make yourself at least content in the job search rather than get depressed. One thing I will say is a big advantage of being a recluse like me is I don't have to take out any frustrations or um, feelings of worthlessness like on anyone else. I can
That's
kind of
fair, yeah.
just I can kind of just throw a bottle out my window and hope it hits someone. No, I'm just kidding. No, but on all seriousness, I can just kind of rant to myself and
Mhm.
then I feel better about it.
see, I
Um,
was where Will was for a while, and this is, I mean, I've probably been this way since I left college, is where it was, I don't want to say there was no direction. I thought I knew what I wanted, and then at one point I just never felt fulfilled with what I was doing. Like there was something else I was supposed to be doing. And then it also follows into the, how dedicated are you to learning this? Like, how much do you really enjoy it? And I'm still to the point now where I'm doing free work even though I'm getting paid. I come home from work and I will sit down and happily work with other designers that I've met in my journey so far, and I work with them on stuff that's just passion, like just
Mm-hmm.
to explore. And I think that's another reason I got good at Figma, is because ideas were there, and I don't have a company I'm making it for. I just have a
Mm-hmm.
couple people I brainstormed with, and we're going to see this thing to an end so we can see what we can make. And we're not getting
Yeah,
paid. So,
yeah. I think it's always easier as well when for example, I'm on first tier of unemployment benefit, which runs out in February, and I know what it's like to go on the second tier, and it's not nice at all. I mean, you get even less,
Mm-hmm.
and you get the jobs come through from the job center, but they're real rubbish jobs, like jobs that people don't want to do. Um, that's
yeah,
why
but
I've actually
I
that's
also
why I've
went to
actually
the,
started applying for customer service jobs, actually, or using my previous experience. I've been widening my job search to not just include UX and UI. I mean, I'd love to go into UX. That's what I want to do. But I'll need to get a job in the before then, and
have you
then at
gone
least.
into the Arbeitsagentur? You can go with your certificate because they paid for it from Career Foundry, and you give it to them, and they will put all that information and your skills that you learned with these programs into their system. And I was getting
Yeah,
regularly in the mail like 10 jobs, and I got callbacks on like 3 of them.
yeah, but not on the on what is now known as the Burger Gelt. You don't get on the first tier. As long as you're looking for
No,
jobs,
no, no,
you're
no.
fine.
You should have a caseworker that will help you look. Like, they'll put all the information in their system, and they will find you places to apply. You just have to send your stuff. And because it's
Yeah,
coming
no,
from them, they look at your application
yeah, no,
relatively
they do
quickly.
that. They do that, but when you're on the tier two, you because I did this with my after the first time I went on that, when I got all my experience, I told them exactly what kind of jobs I was looking for and stuff. But I was getting jobs, even just warehouse jobs, and it's even stricter now. They check up, whereas when I was last on there, they didn't always check up with the companies, but a lot of the time the companies you'll find that work with the job center, the Agentur for Arbeit, are actually ones where they know people don't like doing those jobs. Be it warehouse
I
work or call center work. And
You should
I've done
really
both.
ask,
I've
because
worked in.
I got a huge, like, a dictionary's worth of jobs looking for UX UI through the Arbeitsagentur.
That's awesome.
But this is what I mean. What I mean is when you get them come through the post, it's not always
Oh yeah,
going to
no, the
be
post is
you.
terrible, but they should email them to you via the app now.
Yeah, that's what I'm on about. But who knows? Hopefully, some company will see what I can do, what I can offer, and give me a job, or at least give me an interview. Which is why I couldn't praise you and I enough. That was the company. I enjoyed their recruitment experience, and I have a very good rapport with them. So it could be that at least they know my profile. So if there's another position, I'd be more than happy to get a call from them or an email. But yeah, I think actually we for this week's episode, I think we've actually talked a lot about what a lot of people are going through regarding job searches, rejections, the recruitment process, support systems. Never what I'll say, and I think I'm also okay to say this on behalf of Zach and Will, is don't ever underestimate just even having a conversation with someone who's in the same position, because it really
Absolutely.
will yeah, it will feel like a relief, and you think, yeah, you know what? Yeah, it's just how it is right now.
I do have
And
one
you
more
also,
question before we wrap up for you guys, though.
yeah,
With it's like a subcategory of a support system. Did you guys have like a personal health and mental health system set up? Like I personally started running more and even signed in to do a marathon because it was something to have like an achievable goal every day, so I didn't feel so terrible.
I for me, I just well, I just play video games like The Sims. So, and The Sims, kind of create myself and stuff, and sort of live through there, which helps me to not think about um the current situation. But actually, I'm just feeling optimistic, maybe because I went through loads of problems over the years, and I had and I'm not ashamed to say this. I've seen therapists for years, and and I still see the ones who helped me through my problems, because it's just good for your mental health. It keeps your mental health in check, and it just feels nice to be able to talk to someone. So yeah, I do have systems in place based on all the experience I've had with two therapists I've seen for, not recently, because well, I haven't got the money at the minute, but I've been seeing them since 2016, and I will still continue to see them. But for me, I just kind of think, well, I think about what my late father would say, and he would just say, well, look, you can only keep trying, son. And he's right. I can't do any more. There's no point adding lots of projects to my UX portfolio, because it'll just be a case, it just won't mean anything. So yeah, for me, it's playing video games. Although having said that, I think going for a walk is probably better a lot of the time. But for me, it's just easier staying at home. But I think I just stay at home more because I know about my financial situation, so I've adapted to that. So yeah, that's how I deal with this kind of stuff.
For
Uh,
for me, I don't really have anything to try to distract me from it. Not to say that your marathon training was to distract you, but it was something to kind of help you get fulfillment and achievement on the side when trying to deal with all the rejection. I hope I got that right.
Yeah, because it's
Um,
like you need that boost, otherwise you're just constantly getting,
yeah,
for
yeah,
lack of better terms, pissed on. At
yeah.
least get an umbrella,
I know what you mean. So for me, uh, hmm. well, I've been exercising for years, but I don't really consider it to be my main outlet. For me, it's more like the more I remind myself of why I'm even trying to do this anyway, then the better off I am. My career goal is not to become a UX designer. It's not to work on a specific product or to work on a specific team. My career goal is to decrease the job dissatisfaction rate in the US and beyond, hopefully. You don't even need to start in UX for that. That UX was simply the first job I found that mixed my interests properly. It was only within the last 6 months that I was able to really pinpoint my career direction. And so once I remember hey, UX is only one path to get me towards my career goal. It's not the only path, but it's
Yes.
still super fulfilling for me to help people in this stuff. And my UX work so far has been on a product to help career changers. So sure, I'm not paid yet and I'm still getting rejection emails, but
You did
I
something with it,
already
so
know that I'm doing what I want to be doing. And also through this podcast, also helping career changers. So literally the only thing that's missing for me is the paycheck. I already have all of the rest of it. So I find it hard. Well, I don't really feel like I can complain. I'm in an okay financial position in that I'm about to be out of debt. I am almost done with my student loans, and this is just by working in restaurants while learning UX. I'm convinced that my current restaurant, thanks to my server tips, is going to finish my debts, and I don't have any dependents or anything. I have no other bills to pay. I don't even own a car. So for me, it's just remembering hey, I'm doing this to help people find purposeful and meaningful work, and I'm already taking the steps to get me there. Like, I am already allowed to feel fulfillment from this. The only thing that's missing is the paycheck, and as long as I keep working, the paycheck will come.
See,
So I'm feeling
that's great
okay.
because you're on your way. Like you're what would you say, actualizing your goals there
Yeah,
already.
yeah. The paycheck will get here. Just a matter of time.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping paycheck it will be from a job. Hopefully, at some point we'll get one. Yeah, but that's the thing with this podcast. Like you say, I mean, one of the reasons why we started this was just because we want, especially if we get guests on who we know, really talented colleagues. They can get a bit more exposure. A recruiter could listen to it and think, oh, actually, we'd like to offer this person an interview, if not a job. But yeah, that's pretty much what we wanted to talk about in this episode. And we feel it's probably going to be one of our more popular episodes just because of the nature of the topic. But please tune in again next time, next week for episode 4. The theme will be probably something we'll choose on the day. But we hope you've but we hope you've enjoyed listening to this podcast as always, the same way that we've enjoyed making it. And please, by all means, our email address, which I think Zach or Will provide.
It's the framexframe.uipod@gmail.com.
There we go.
There we go. There we go. And we're now on Spotify and Amazon and Podbean. So please feel free to tune in from there. And of course, we still have YouTube. So from all of us here at the Frame by Frame podcast, thank you very much for listening. We hope that it's helped. And we look forward to delivering to you episode 4 next week. So it's goodbye from me.
And me.
Bye, everybody.
Yep. Okay.